I am Patricia Wynn. I am Tunstall's Chief Health and Care Strategy Officer. And this is actually a new role that Tunstall has created, recognizing the opportunity ahead to integrate health and care to better serve vulnerable individuals. As telecare moves from an analog world to a digital world, it opens up a whole new world of opportunities for how digital technology and data can help us shift both health and care from a reactive model to a proactive model. I'm joining Tunstall at this time because this shift from a reactive model to a proactive model is what I've really built my career off of. I actually moved to the UK 12 years ago because I believe in the opportunity that public sector health and care has to work together to drive better outcomes for individuals, not only in the short term, but across the long term, and therefore to increase the overall health and well-being of populations. In the past 5 years, I have been working closely with NHS England on the move towards integrated care systems. And I led NHS England's largest transformation program for ICSs called the Population Health Management Development Program. And the key to this program is that all too often in health and care, we see the world through our own limited vantage point. So the acute hospital sees you when you come into their service, primary care sees you from the GP perspective, social care working hard to manage outside, but everyone's looking at the individual from their vantage point. And actually, that can create fragmentation and a lack of coordination. And so for the individual, not only are they receiving disjointed care, but we're not using our resources as effectively as we could do to support them in their needs. What population health management is really about is understanding the whole person and the complexity associated with that whole person, as well as understanding populations and their needs. And it really helps bring together the various component sectors of health and care to collectively work to understand that individual, but that population, whether that be at a neighborhood level, at a place level, or across an entire ICS. And by working together, we see the opportunity to think differently about who are the people that are most vulnerable in the system, and what actually could be done differently to support them before they need the most expensive and typically not well supported elements such as hospital admissions. And what we find is that it is often the care that happens in people's homes that is the greatest need to support individuals before they deteriorate and need more advanced services. And that's why I think Tunstall has an opportunity when we think about who are those vulnerable individuals right now and what typically stops them from being able to live independently in their own homes. We see falls as an example of one of those moments in someone's life that really shift the trajectory of their being able to support themselves independently. And Tunstall has a great history of being that critical support for these vulnerable individuals in their own homes for when events such as these falls happen. As we think about the future of both health and care integration and the opportunity that we have in telecare with the analog to digital switchover, there's an opportunity to not just replicate telecare as we've done it in the past, but to really accelerate this move to more proactive and preventative care. With digital, we have the opportunity to connect the Internet of Things, and we also have the opportunity to generate data in a way that enables us to understand what are those predictors of the events that we could actually wrap more proactive services around those individuals before, let's say, a fall happens. We recognize this is a complex journey, both technically speaking and in terms of how health and care work together. And my role at Tunstall is really to work in collaboration with systems who want to go on this journey, who want to leverage the new world of digital technology, and are willing to work with us to really understand how we can better support people in their own homes with technology that is enabled with service. Because I think what really sets Tunstall apart and what our aspiration is it's one thing to have a bunch of data and technology in someone's homes, but we know that care is delivered by people, and people are our greatest asset across the system. And what we want to support systems to do is ensure you have the right actionable insights from technology and from data to ensure your people are having the best impact they have to the end users that they serve, and that we can play a pivotal role in supporting those transformative models of care. It's been a privilege to join the organization just as we were launching our UK roadshows, and I think that it is a pivotal moment in this analog to digital transition, and it's been great to have customers come together to really practically understand what this transition will mean, whether that be how to finance the devices and think about how to ensure that investment can be made before the switchover, whether that is thinking practically about how to win hearts and minds and have real customers telling their own journeys of how they've practically done the operational planning for the move to analog to digital. And then also with our colleagues from BT, really thinking about how we engage that end user in this conversion and ultimately make sure they're aware and they feel comfortable, and that we can work in partnership, our customers and the telco providers, with that end user to make sure that their telecare switches over as practically and safely as possible. And so I think that all of those really practical elements have been great for customers to hear from experts, but also to talk with each other as they're navigating this journey. I've had a privilege of ending each of these sessions with a workshop on what does it really mean to go digital, and how do we think about that future not just as replicating the way we worked before, but really aspiring to do something differently. And I think we all recognize that that's not an easy thing to do, and it will require different in kind investments, different in kind structures, different in kind partnerships across the health and care system. And so what has been really helpful as we really formulate our strategy to best partner with the wider health and care service in this move from a more reactive model of care to a proactive model of care has been to hear, practically speaking, where systems are, how mature are they, how is that partnership working today, and to encourage thinking big but starting small. We really think that this analog to digital transition and the opportunity that telecare now has is a really practical way that systems can come together to say, how do we work together to define what this asset is and how we could leverage it differently on behalf of those end users and the wider health and care system to drive better outcomes. And that's the start, in my experience, of any transformation from an integrated working perspective. Start with the challenge and the outcomes that you're looking to solve for, and then facilitate conversations around what are the assets and strengths that exist in the system, and then how could we effectively leverage those assets to drive better outcomes. And I think in my experience, telecare is an under-leveraged asset, and we want to partner in that journey to support systems, both with the telecare of today, but most importantly with the telecare of tomorrow. As we've facilitated these UK roadshows, we've asked our customers what do they need from technology and what is most important as they think about prioritizing the future. And one thing that's really been interesting is a keen sense of the importance of interoperability. I think that in order for the digital world of telecare to really support the outcomes of the wider health and care system, customers are recognizing that not only do they need to cross boundaries and cross silos and enable partnership working, but they really need their technology to talk to different systems and share information, because ultimately the goal is to have the right information to the right person at the right time. And so I think it has been a privilege to see the customer base really saying interoperability is one of the most important things we need to focus on in the near term during this analog to digital shift. And it's definitely something in a strategic perspective that Tunstall has taken on and really wants to help support as we develop our new platforms.